welcome back to Lupine Farm. My name is Emmy if you're new here, and if you've seen the title on this video, it is going to be talking about having a pituitary gland brain tumor as well as lupus. So if you like that, please like the video and subscribe because it really helps, and yeah, enjoy! So I found out I had a pituitary gland brain tumor, and I think it's been a little over a year now, almost 2, that I found out. And so I'm gonna go back to when I was like 14 years old to try to give a little backstory on everything I went through leading up to it and then to now. So this might end up being a 2-part video. We'll see, because my phone doesn't let me upload anything over like 12 to 15 minutes. It just won't do it. And so yeah, if I have to break this up into 2 parts, so be it, but we're gonna try to get it all out there. So I started my period for the first time when I was 14. I was a little bit of a late starter. People have started later, but anyway. And it was very, very rough. And I don't know, of course I only know my own experience, but it was so bad that I would just lay down on my bed in like the fetal position and not move, like be as stiff as a board. And because the pain was just so excruciating, and I bled pretty heavy too. And of course when you're first starting out, normally your periods are sporadic and everything, that's just normal, but mine were always very, very hard, very difficult, very heavy. And I also struggled with like acne really bad, which I tried everything. I changed my diet, took more different vitamins, I went off dairy, I went off gluten, I went off corn, I went off, just a bunch of different stuff, but none of it seemed to help, none of it seemed to solve the problem. And so I had a lot of stomach issues, and I don't digest things properly, which the lupus causes that to a point, but I later found out that the tumor was actually causing a lot of that as well, which I will get to later. But anywho, so my periods were really, really bad, and to the point that one time I couldn't even walk, like to take myself to the bathroom. I was like at the point of throwing up, and it was just horrific, and my dad had to carry me into the restroom and then, carry me back, and because I couldn't even stand up. When I'd stand up, I'd fall. I couldn't hold myself up. I was like, it was the weirdest feeling ever, and it was just, oh my goodness, it was awful. It was awful, awful, awful. And so that's my first experience with periods and whatnot. And so I also, later on, and of course I had the acne going on, which was also the tumor, and later on I actually started making milk. So I was 16 or 17, and I've been abstinent my whole life. I've never done anything like that, and because for me it's important to save myself for marriage and whatnot. And being a 16, 17 year old, all of a sudden I'm making milk, and like it wasn't just milk, it was milk mixed with blood, and I was completely freaking out, and I felt like my whole world was just falling apart. It's like nothing was right, everything was wrong, it was just really bad. And of course I was struggling a lot mentally too, because of course when you have acne and whatnot, it really messes with you, like your confidence and everything. And then add that onto being really sick, and then now making milk and everything. It was just awful. And my dad actually, bless his heart, my sweet dad, he had to stop by the store and get me nursing pads. I had to wear nursing pads in my bra, okay? And it was really, really bad. And so yeah, I ended up going to the doctor for that, which I told them about stuff that was going on, but they just never really, they just said, oh, you're just starting out, that's the problem, and it'll all clear up and it'll all be better. Well, so I went to my primary doctor, and they had to check everything, and they checked my levels, my prolactin levels, which are supposed to be in the 20s. Mine were in the 80s, And so that's what was causing everything. So they sent me to a doctor to go just get my brain and stuff checked out because they were trying to figure out what was causing all this. So I had to have like brain x-rays, and I then found out that I had a small, it was benign tumor on my pituitary gland, but it's really small, but it's enough to cause a lot of problems. And so he tried to put me on a medicine and for it, but it was too strong for me, and I ended up being so sick. I spent like 2 days puking my heels up every few minutes, and I couldn't hardly move. Like, I had no strength in my body. I was, oh my goodness, it was so bad. It was so bad. And because I already struggle with like nausea and stuff, which I also found out that, so the tumor makes my body think it's pregnant when it's not. And so I experience a lot of symptoms of a pregnant woman. So like, of course, making the milk and stuff, and morning sickness, I experience that a lot. Now that I'm on the correct medicine for the tumor, I normally experience the morning sickness when I'm on my period, and everything's, when you're on your period, everything's, all over the place with hormones, and so I do experience the morning sickness mostly when I'm on my period. Like a week before and like a week after is when it all kind of starts up. I have a hard time with tastes, and smells of foods will just make me want to throw up, and yeah, the whole 9 yards of all that crap. And so I did that, and then if my stomach is upset, it'll swell really bad, and it'll literally look like I'm pregnant. And so I've been through the whole issue where your stomach is big enough that you can't hardly bend over. It hurts to bend over, so you have to like squat. I'm telling you, when I have children, I will be very prepared for it. I mean, I've just been through all of it except for having the child. And anyway, so the medicine that they originally put me on did not work out. It was awful. So they wanted me to try a smaller dose of it, so I did, and had the same issue. It wasn't as extreme, but it was still really bad. Like, the first time around, I actually had to go to the hospital, and they had to give me IV fluids and everything, and the doctor there at the emergency room told me I shouldn't be taking that, and that this was a actually common side effect of that medicine. And he was not happy that I was even taking it. So, but my doctor, that was I don't remember what they're called, but the doctor for my tumor, he wanted me to try a smaller dose, because there's only 2 medicines, I guess, for that kind of tumor. And so I tried a smaller dose, had the same issue. I almost had to go back to the hospital, but I didn't. I was able to just get through it. And so anyway, I would not take that anymore. And after a while of trying to get a hold of him, he finally got me on a different medicine, and it did make me sick for a little bit, but once my system got used to the medicine, I do fine with it now, and it kind of helps keep everything at a normal level. And I was told that I would probably never be able to go off the medicine, and they have to watch me closely to make sure I don't get any more tumors, because now, being at the age I am, already having a tumor, I'm more susceptible to getting more tumors, I guess. And so they have to watch me close for that. And I probably won't be able to go off the medicine, they said. And because if I do, then it's gonna get worse. And I guess I wanted them to maybe take it out, just get it out, and so I could, just not deal with it anymore. But they said that it was small enough that it's more dangerous to take it out, than it wasn't worth the risk of taking it out than just leaving it, because how small it is. And so anywho, it's kind of like with the lupus. They told me I would never be able to go off the medication for that. It's something I will have to live with probably the rest of my life. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm just trying to accept it and go on. But so when I go on my period, the tumor obviously flares up a little bit with the adjustment in the hormones, and then the lupus flares up. So every time I go on my period, I have a lupus flare, and a lot of times I have a hard time walking. I can't eat very much because I'm struggling with the morning sickness, so I get really weak, and sometimes I can hardly walk. Sometimes I can hardly move. There's times I've taken the shakes really bad because my sugar is so low because I'm not eating and I'm losing blood, of course, and I think my iron gets low, and it's just a mess. I hate periods. I hate them. But I mean, everybody's got to go through it, so you just deal. They put me on birth control there for a while before they even got me on a tumor medicine, to try to regulate stuff, and it helped to a point, but I still struggled with the acne really bad. I still struggled, I mean, with everything I was still struggling with it, except for I quit making milk. That was pretty well the only thing it helped with. I mean, it messed with my cycles, my period cycles, really bad. I had 1 month that I bled for like the whole month straight, and then I had 1 month that I was just spotting all the time, or I think I had 1 month that, I can't remember if it was just really, really bad, really, really heavy, and then I had some that I didn't even have a period for that month, or, I mean, it was just awful. It was all over the place. It was terrible. So they put me on a different birth control, and which, I can't remember, that one messed with something. Just this, I think it was just my cycles were just so off, and I hated being on the birth control. I hated it. I didn't want to be on it, but they told me I didn't have a choice at that point. So finally, when they got me on the tumor medicine and I was able to quit the birth control and they got me on the correct tumor medicine, things kind of started calming down. I don't struggle with acne very much anymore, except with, you know, on your period you get 1 or 2 here, or if my stomach is really messed up, sometimes I'll break out a little bit. I've really been struggling with like my shoulders breaking out. I don't know what's up with that. I'm trying to figure out if that's a lupus thing, or because I know lupus, you get sores here and there just for no apparent reason. It just happens. And so I don't know if that's it. I don't know if it's something to go with the tumor. I've tried to study on it. I can't really find anything. So I just do the best I can to take care of my skin and, you know, be careful with my diet and whatnot. And so if anybody knows anything on that, I would please leave something in the comments. I would love some help. I can't figure it out. So I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm just trying to say it as I remember it. I went through, I don't know, it was a long time that I couldn't eat, and I'd literally live off broth, and so I lost a lot of weight. I got really, really weak, so weak I couldn't even walk across the yard. I'd have to just sit down on a rock or whatever I could find and just sit there for a while because I didn't have the strength to keep going. I'd sit down for a minute and I'd literally take the shake so bad that I'd be jerking all over the place, and extremely, extremely sick, dizzy all the time. It was awful. Like, there was times I couldn't move, like my arms and stuff. I couldn't even move my own arm, and I couldn't hold myself up. I couldn't anything. And I had my dad and a sweet friend of mine. They'd have to carry me anywhere, and they'd lay me in bed, and they'd like sit there and like have to hold me. If I needed to sit up for a minute, they'd have to hold me there. And oh my word, it was so bad. If I try to stand up, I just fall. It was really bad. I even had some times in church where I'd take the shakes and get really weak, and they'd have to like, I do not like being carried if I can help it, because I feel like that's me giving in. I know that's probably stupid, but for me that's like the one thing that I had for a long time. I had never let them carry me, you know? I'd always pushed through it, and then when it got to the point that they had to carry me, I felt kind of like I just lost everything. I'd just given in to it. And so I still try not to have to be carried. I mean, I'll hold on to them, let them help me if I can't do it myself, but I try not to have to be carried if I can help it. But there's just times I physically can't. But if I'm in church or something, it's even worse because I don't want to make a scene, and so I'll just like hold on to them and do the best I can to get myself to the car, you know, even if they're having to hold on to me, whatever, as long as they don't have to carry me, because I'm like, that's just the biggest scene ever. I mean, I didn't want to do that. But anyway, they're, yeah, sweet friends and family who have helped me through that. So I still, even though everything is, I feel like more like a normal person's, as far as hormonal things go, my periods haven't, since I've been on the Tumor medicine for quite a while now, they're normally more like I can live through them a little bit better and just take some pain medicine and I can, you know, deal. That a lot of times they make me very tired and I feel weaker when I'm on my period, and obviously sick to my stomach a lot. But you know, I can get through it. And but I do try to be careful not to do anything too like heavy when I'm on my period, like lifting a lot of heavy stuff or doing a lot of physical things, because it makes me hurt worse, it makes me bleed heavier, and I try to be very careful. But I can predict each month when I start to get sick and where I can't eat and I'm tired and, you know, I'm hurting, whatever. I'm like, okay, period's coming, you know, and I kind of know I can time it, and it's weird. But so I'm trying not to make this video too long so I can still upload it. So I think I'm gonna stop there. That's about all I can remember at the moment. If there's any questions or anything else that I didn't say and you would like to know, please leave it in the comments and I will do my best to answer it. I know there's stuff I'm leaving out. I can't recall it just off the top of my head at the moment. And but I did my best. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope maybe it's encouraging for some of you who might be going through similar stuff. And it's not the easiest thing to talk about. Some of that stuff is very personal, but I feel like it might help someone, and so I'm trying to share and open up about different stuff like that. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, I know I jumped all over the place in this video, but I literally was just trying to say it as it came into my head. But I just want to thank you for sticking with me and watching it, and I will see you in the next video. I hope y'all have a wonderful day.